Hello there, my name is Simon and you are watching Walking Talking Gardeners. And in this video I'm going to be talking to you about 5 mistakes, yes 5 mistakes that you will wish to avoid when growing your plants from seed. And you might be thinking, Simon, 5 mistakes? What are you talking about? Sowing seeds is easy. You get your seed, you get some compost, you put the compost in the seed tray, you put the seeds in the compost, stick them underneath about ½ an inch and then water it, and then within a couple of days you're going to start seeing some germination. No, flipping no.
Mistake number 1
is seed viability. Over time, seed viability will reduce and that will affect your germination rates. Now, depending on which seed you're growing, that rate of decline will vary. But if you check your seed packets, you'll often see a date. Now, you can class that date as a best before date, and it's an indicator of the germination rate of those seeds. Now, if you have a particular seed and you have a germination rate of 80%, which means that out of 100 seeds you sow, you should get 80% of those germinating, that rate will drop. So if you are going past your use by date, because let's be honest with you, I've got seeds that have been sitting around for absolute years, and the viability is probably down to about 3-4-5%. So this is something you need to be aware of. Seeds do not remain viable forever. You'll check your sow by date on the seed packet, but really sow them as soon as you get them. That's the best policy.
Mistake number 2.
Right, now, annual plants. Now, an annual plant is a plant that you can grow from seed, and within that same growing year will produce its own viable seed. Right, that's one thing. Right, and then you get tropical plants that we all love to grow in our gardens, plants that will not survive one of our winters, so you only grow it for a year, and people will call those annual seeds in the industry. Now, when it comes to sowing these seeds of these tropical annual seeds, you need to be aware that they will require much higher temperatures in order to get the seeds to germinate. You cannot initiate germination with lower temperatures. So, for example, we have this Rudbeckia here. Now, if you check the back of that will say up to 30 degrees Celsius, and that means you cannot just sow it into some compost and put it on a warm, bright windowsill and expect to germinate, because it won't. What you need is a heated propagator. Now, what that will do, it will warm up the soil within the propagator itself, hit that temperature which will initiate germination, and those seeds will germinate. If you don't use a heated propagator, if you don't even check to see if there is a germinating temperature, then your seeds will not germinate. And that is a really common mistake when it comes to trying to propagate these tropical annual seeds.
Mistake number 3. Seed dormancy.
Oh my goodness me, seed dormancy. I could film an entire series of videos on the complexities of seed dormancy. Right, now, many seeds that you will come across have an inbuilt dormancy that needs to be broken in order to get the embryo inside to germinate. So this is something you need to be aware of, because different seeds have different ways of breaking dormancy. Some need, some seeds have a germinating inhibiting chemicals within the seed coat that need to be leached out with water, but you don't want them to stay in the water too long, because then oxygen can't get in and you can kill off the germ inside the seed coat. Some need cold periods, some need dry periods, some need exposure to light. There's a whole big complicated process. But seed dormancy, you just need to be aware of it. You need to check your individual seed and see if there is any dormancy issues and what you would need to do to break it. For example, if you're growing sweet peas, then quite often you need to nick the coat without damaging the eye of the seed, so allow moisture in order to get the embryo inside to germinate. So there are many problems regarding dormancy. I'm not going to go into too much detail. Just be aware that that is a thing you need to be aware of, and if you're not aware of it and do not manage it, then your seeds are not going to germinate. That's a major mistake with many seeds. Now, if you are finding the information in this video useful, or perhaps just mildly amusing and you'd like to pass it on, then by all means press the like button. It supports this channel immensely and helps us do what we do. Don't forget, you can also click onto the subscription button. Subscription is absolutely free and you can unsubscribe at any time. It doesn't cost you anything, and if you want to be notified whenever we publish a new video, then all you need to do is click on that notification bell. Anyway, let's continue to find out what old Boyle Belt has to say.
Mistake number 4. Light.
Yes, light is required for certain seeds to help initiate germination, and it is a more common issue than you think. Plants like petunias, begonias, lettuce, marigolds all require light to germinate, and it may not actually say that on your seed packet. However, if it does say sprinkle your seeds on the soil surface and then apply a thin layer of, which could be compost, perlite, vermiculite, grit sand, then that's a good indicator that those seeds require light to germinate. If you bury them as you would do with your regular seeds, the chances are you're going to get a much lower rate of germination, and that doesn't help you when you're trying to propagate new plants. So again, check the back of the pack. If it mentions about sowing thinly on the surface, then that'll give you a clue. And do you know what? If you're not sure, you can always check on the internet, or just ask me, I'll tell you anyway. So, light. If your seeds need to germinate and you don't give it to them, then not going to germinate.
Mistake number 5. Poor hygiene and damping off.
Yeah, back in the day, this was an absolutely huge problem for propagators. Damping off is a fungus or a range of fungi that do affect emerging seedlings, causing them to just collapse in a mess, and that's all your work destroyed. So you need to make sure that your equipment, your compost, is sterile to begin with. Now, fingers crossed, when you buy a fresh bag of compost from your local retailer, garden centre, shop, whatever, it should have been heat or steam sterilised before packing, which would ensure that there are no pathogens, no fungal spores, no microorganisms in there that can cause problems with your seedlings as they germinate. And also, if you're using old seed trays, using a propagator you've used before, then clean them all down, either with a mild solution of bleach or J's fluid, to ensure that there are no pathogens, pests, microorganisms that are left lying around that can damage your plants. It's a big problem now. Back in the day, you used to be able to get a product called Benlay, or I think it might be Benlin, which you would use for preventing damping off in seedlings, but now you cannot get it because that is a banned product, which means there are no chemical treatments for damping off. So keep everything sterile as best as you can. That's what you need to do. And also, once your seedlings have germinated, you need to increase ventilation dramatically. That means if you've got them in a heated propagator, either remove the lid off it to give you good ventilation, or open the vents on your heated propagator. But yeah, damping off with seedlings was a massive problem back in the day, and the way composts have been produced at the moment, which is cheaply, I'm constantly using fresh compost, putting it in a propagator, and then having all these mold spores come through. So it's not sterilized, and if that's happened, well, not a lot you can do about it. Hopefully the fungal spores that cause damping off aren't in there, but just a matter of time, isn't it? So there you go, those are my 5 mistakes to avoid when sowing seeds, and of course there are more than 5, but we're only including 5 in this video, and if you want to add any more mistakes to avoid, put that in the comments. We'd love to hear from you, and also it helps those who like to read the comments to find out more information too. I will give you a kind of a 6, and that's what happens once you have your seedlings and you're going to plant them outside, and this is, or these 2 issues are arguably the two biggest causes for seedling loss once you've actually got them in the ground, and that is planting them too early, and then those plants getting hit by frost, and it just kills the whole lot. So always keep an eye on the weather, put in protection or management if required. And the second one is sun scorch, which is probably the worst one. That's because if you're growing your seedlings under protection of a greenhouse or a propagator indoors, polytunnel or whatever, and then you bring them outside to outside conditions, then the ultraviolet light from the sun, too much of that and it will kill it off. So you need to harden them off. It takes about 7 to 10 days. You place those seedlings out in the shade away from the sun, and then day by day, bit by bit, you give them a little bit more light in order to get those leaves, the epidermis and the leaves, to thicken up. And really within 2 weeks you'll be absolutely fine. You can be put outside into the final position. And there we have it, everything I'm going to say on this video. And thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. Right, now just before you go, if you want to see more content, more behind the scenes stuff, and images that I've taken of some weird freaky plants over the years, then you're in luck, because we've created an Instagram page. So you can find the link in our description, you can find the link on our main page, and if I'm clever enough I might be able to get a link somewhere up there. Anyway, thanks for watching, and if you want to see more YouTube stuff, then check out this video here. That's quite a good one. And if it doesn't float your boat, then another one right there. And enjoy these while I still got the strength, imagination and aptitude to make them. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.